arsenide.
No, that's the internal components, but the coding.
You still have to talk about it and let people know. Also, another thing about the microchip is that it's made out of gallium arsenide. Gallium arsenide, it's a poison, and they use that as part of the materials that make up the microchipping device. And so, in addition to the thermoplastic that my brother was talking about that keeps it in place, the materials of the microchip's internal components itself is hazardous to the person implanted. I'm going back to
That's correct. So, as you see, they're basically poisoning the body of the person that has the microchip in place. And most of the time, they do not use, the person does not know that they have it, because they can use an aircraft, and they can use lasers, and then they can see inside the human body, and they can take those lasers and inject it into the human body, and all you'll feel is pain. You'll feel pain, but you won't know where the pain is coming from, and you won't know who did it, because you won't be able to see them, because they'll be in some kind of a military plane, or even just a private plane. You won't be able to see that who's doing that to you, but at the same time they'll be doing that to you. That's what they did to my husband. And on top of that, so my husband went to, so the doctor told him, Dr. Lowy said, if you want that removed, I can't remove it. You want it removed, you'll have to go to...
Don't touch this.
You'll have to go to, like, you'll have to go to the, you'll have to go to a Navy officer or someone at the Navy, at the Veterans Hospital, and have them remove it. So when my husband inquired about having it, how did it get there and why is it there, he's already served his time. He's out of the Navy a long time, more than 10 years, and why does he have a microchip in his head? And they, of course, denied it and said that they weren't going to remove anything, and he needed to leave. My husband left, very sorrowful, because my husband knew that he was dying. He had, by that time, had his first heart attack. After he had his first heart attack, they treated it as if though, the cardiologist treated it as if though it was just his heart. They were not treating it as if though the heart is responding to the microchip that is blocking arteries, major arteries and blood vessels. They do not treat it as if though it's a reaction. The heart is reacting to the microchip implant. They treat it separately as if though he has a heart problem. Yes, he was slightly overweight, but he was very tall, and he was that way all his, for many years, and still. But he was starting to, so the cardiologist did to speed up his time so he could die sooner. Apparently, he diagnosed him with some kind of a heart issue and gave him Coumadin. Coumadin is rat poison. And if rat poison can kill a rat, that's a mammal, it can kill a human in large doses. They were having my husband take more than one dosage a day. His blood got thinner and thinner and thinner until he died. They killed my husband legally. They used legal means by saying they're doctors and they're professional people to kill my husband. And it's very difficult, and then they make it difficult for me and my children to get an attorney. We went from Ohio, from California to Ohio, from Ohio back to California, from California to Hawaii, trying to seek justice somewhere. We took our case from the local courts to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said our case is frivolous. At that point, we couldn't accept that, because the same thing that they have implanted in my husband to kill him, they have implanted in my body and in my children's body as well. And they like to do this to people who do not suspect anything. They like to harm innocent people. And African people, most of them don't know it. But I do know this, the brain does not continue to grow. So if your head is getting larger and you all of a sudden you can't wear the hats you used to wear, it's probably because you have not just one, but up to 5 or 10 microchips between in your cervical cortex,
along the first 7 cervical vertebrae.
The cervical vertebrae of the neck, the thoracic part of your spine, and the lumbar part of your spine. They use all kinds of criminal techniques to harm innocent people. They can interfere with any of your biological processes. They can determine if you can and cannot even have children. They can give you a shot via a laser. They can give you a shot via an immunization and keep you from having children. And they can put you on birth control if you want to be on birth control or not. They can determine if you have a healthy child, or they can determine if you're going to have a child that comes into the world with that same microchip in his head or her head. They're harming the children, they're harming the average person, they're harming all the humanity, and they're particularly people of African descent. And people that don't know, people that don't read, and people that don't want to believe. So if you're one of those people, then it's probably something that you should go and see. You should check out and see if you're healthy, or if you have. They're not going to tell you if you have a microchip. You know your own body. You've been with your body all your life. You can tell if your body is acting differently. They'll tell you that it's all kinds of other illnesses, but it'll be the microchip, and they won't tell you that it is. And if it stays inside your body, it's arsenic in your body, it's poison. So they're basically poisoning your body, and they're causing cancer to grow in your body. So they're giving you a very cruel, slow death. It's called no-touch torture. That's what they did to my husband. That's what they're doing to me and my family. And that's what they're doing to hundreds of thousands of other Americans and other minorities in the world. You are not exempt. If you think you are exempt because you are wealthy, you are not exempt. If you think you are exempt because you are Asian, you are not exempt. If you think you are exempt because you are Hispanic and you look white, you are not exempt. If you are a minority, it's happening to you. If you are a whistleblower, it's happening to you. And if you're too afraid to speak out while you still have life to speak out with, then you're part of the problem and you're not part of the solution. And we need people to petition against these weapons of mass destruction that they're using. It's a silent war against all African Americans, all Africans around the world. Many Africans don't know that this even exists, but that's what they're doing. And that's what they did to my husband and to us. And we went all the way to Quebec, Canada, to seek a refugee status. And my daughter will tell you what happened.
We filed a refugee status in Canada, and We couldn't find any attorney that would help take on our case because we were DCO claimants, because we were from the United States, like that was our nationality. And I had to do all the paperwork and research the laws, like the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations, federal court rules, the Federal Courts Act, etc. So it was difficult to do all that work, and on top of that, I was like, I had to do my homework and all sorts of things. So what I would do is I would try my best to, file a document to the court, because what happened was that we filed the refugee claim in July. Then what happened is we started, then they made the decision